Oh, happy Friday. Happy Friday. Happy Friday, everyone. My name is Justin Moore. I'm the founder of Creator Wizard, where I teach you how to find and negotiate your dream sponsorships. Today, we're talking about how you need to add this platform to boost your brand deal rates. You're probably thinking, which platform? Which one should I be on, Justin? I'm so curious. I thought I'm on all the ones that I need to be on to get brand deals. Which one are you talking about? Well, we're going to dig into it today. So I want you to let me know where you are tuning in from in the chat. I'm live streaming at a different time today. You're probably wondering, like, why am I getting this notification at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern? This is not your normal live stream time, Justin. Well, the reason is because I did the keynote for Unicon, which was a virtual summit earlier today around the same time as my normal live stream time. So I'm kind of pulling an audible. I'm here for you. As you know, if I can make it, like if I can do the weekly live stream, I always do it because I made this commitment to y'all a very long time ago. And for the most part, I've done a weekly live stream for the better part of 3 years. So if I can show up, I will show up. So I am here. Please let me know where you're tuning in from in the chat. I am going live across a bunch of different platforms. Let me see here. Make sure that we are properly live on all these different places. I am not seeing myself live on, oh, sorry, I'm on the wrong handle. I wasn't seeing myself live on Instagram, but there we go. Awesome. I see Trudy over here. Kyle Dart, good to see you here. And who we got in the other chat? We got Delilah Rodriguez. What's going on? We got Jody tuning in from New Jersey. We've got Catherine from Arizona. We've got Architectural Sheet Metal 101 all the way from Ontario. I just visited your beautiful country a few weeks back in Vancouver. I had such a blast. Yeah, Delilah says, thank you for being here. Hope you're not spreading yourself too thin for us. I appreciate that very much. You're tuning in from Dallas, Fort Worth. And we got Lola on TikTok as well as Aaron Dodge. Trudy's tuning in from NYC. And Jay Brown Woods all the way from Northern California. Good to see you here, dude. That's where I am as well. All right. So as you know, with my weekly live streams, my time is your time on these. So I spend a little bit of time talking about the topic at hand, and then we dive into Q&A. So if you do have any questions around brand deals, sponsorships, negotiation, you name it, please make sure to drop it in the chat, and we will dive into that. Okay. So talking about platforms and how that can get you more brand deals. So if you want to get more brand deals, you cannot just be a one-trick pony. You have to start thinking about your holistic content strategy. I have this conversation with creators a lot who they have a very large concentration of their audience on one particular platform. Let's say that you're a YouTuber, right? A lot of YouTubers define themselves by the fact that they're a YouTuber. And when I ask them, like, okay, well, like, where else do you really have a presence? And they're like, nah, I don't really have time to, like, build up my Instagram or TikTok or whatever, because I focus all my time on making YouTube videos. And one of the reasons that this is such a pervasive attitude or strategy for a lot of YouTubers in particular is because it takes a lot of time making YouTube videos, right? Especially long form content, right? And so it doesn't leave a lot of time in the day, especially if you're a side hustle creator. It doesn't leave a lot of time in the day to create content for other platforms. The extent of what these types of creators typically do is, maybe they'll repurpose their content, right? Where they'll make a long form video and then they cut, some short form assets off of that, right? But there's not really like a concerted strategy behind growing other platforms. And I always tend to have to give creators like this some tough love oftentimes because especially when it comes to working with brands. Like, okay, first and foremost, I know why this happens. It's because YouTubers in particular, a lot of times the main way in which they make money is AdSense, right? They're not, they just make a video and then ads roll before that video and they get an AdSense check, right? It's pretty sweet, right? Because you don't have to interact with anyone. You just make the video in your own little cave, right? Your creative cave, and then you're able to drive income from it if you are, getting a sufficient amount of views. But the reality is that for most creators, in addition to AdSense, or maybe you're not even getting AdSense, maybe you're not even monetized, the next most critical revenue stream is brand partnerships, sponsorships, right? You start getting hopefully inbound inquiries from brands saying, hey, we want to collaborate with you. And you're like, oh, wow, this is interesting. You're going to pay me to like talk about your brand on my platform or whatever, right? And so brand partnerships is oftentimes kind of the next step for a lot of creators to start thinking like, okay, I can make some money from this creator thing. And so if you are a one-trick pony and the only thing that you have to offer to a brand, let's say, is a integration into one of your YouTube videos, or let's say you're an Instagrammer, right? And the only thing you can offer them is a reel, or maybe a set of stories. So like kind of a different content format within that platform. That's all good and well. But the creators that make the most money are the creators that understand that if I can have a presence on other types of platforms, perhaps with other content formats, that is another avenue for me to not only serve my audience, but to offer to potential brand partners. Imagine how much more powerful of a story it is, of a conversation, of a negotiation it is, when you can go to the brand and say, hey, yeah, I know you came inbound to me for a YouTube integration or an Instagram post or a podcast ad read or whatever it is. Did you also know that I have this newsletter with 5,000 of your ideal customers on there as well? I would love to talk about how I can move the needle for your brand by including that in one of the packages. And so, I talk about this a lot, that a big mistake that creators make is when a brand comes inbound to them, ask them how much they charge for a certain platform. What most creators do is they just spit back one number. They say, oh, that's, yeah, cool. I'm interested. $1,200, $2,000, whatever it is. Right. And not only let's dissect that. Not only does that is that not a very nice way to illustrate to the brand that you're really excited about this opportunity, and it makes you seem like you're just purely interested in it from a dollars and cents transactional point of view, but you're leaving a ton of money on the table, right? Imagine if instead of spitting back one number, you can, say to them, hey, this is super interesting. I know, you ask them about some of their objectives. You try to scope the deal out a little bit, like what would a win look like, et cetera. And you basically say, hey, no, I know that you came inbound to me asking about this particular platform, but based on what you just told me about what a win is, I actually think it would be smarter for us to explore this other type of activation. So yeah, maybe package one is, the one YouTube video integration that they asked for, but then package two is actually just focus on the newsletter, right? Because brand, you told me that conversions was most important to you, right? Well, I can do a dedicated email blast, and the whole kind of thrust of the email will be around your brand, your product, your services, ensuring that people are clicking on the link, signing up for a free trial, whatever it is. And so if you can draw the line for a brand partner and help them understand that hey, you have this objective, I can help you accomplish that objective by sponsoring me in the following ways. You're going to 100% differentiate yourself, and you're going to make more money, right? Because imagine as they go to these higher and higher packages, right? It's this concept of price anchoring. As they go to these higher and higher packages, they're going to start to realize, well, the only way in which we can accomplish all of our marketing objectives is if we go for package 4 or 5 that Justin's providing to us. We initially came and thought that, oh yeah, Instagram would be the right way. But now that we're thinking this through, and Justin is the one who caused us to kind of rethink our strategy, I think we should probably pay the man, pay him, because even though he seems maybe a little bit more expensive than these other people we were talking to, it just seems like it's going to go better with Justin. So let's pay the man, right? And so this is a super, super, super critical concept to understand, is you cannot just be a one-trick pony. And so surprise, surprise, the real punchline of today's topic is that the platform that you need to be on to be able to upsell is, it's a litmus test of 2. It's number 1, where is your audience starting to hang out, right? Let's say it's a newer platform. Are they spending time on there? And number 2, is this brand partnering with creators on that platform? Because that illustrates that they are finding value in activating campaigns on that platform. And if you answer yes to both of those questions, you better have a presence on that platform ASAP. And yes, I understand it's hard. You're a side hustle creator. You're doing lots of things. You're trying to maintain your presence on this one primary platform. And I get it. And that's important. But part of this whole creator thing is understanding that if you want to create a sustainable income, maybe you want to eventually one day quit your 9-to-5 job. To be able to do that, yeah, you might need to, employ some, I'm not going to be the one to hustle and grind and don't sleep. And that's not what I'm saying. But there is a period of intensity that is going to be required, and you may need to exert a little bit more effort than you may have been comfortable with, trying to stand up other areas of your business that are going to help you diversify your income streams and your content strategy. And so I think back to some of the stories of when, I was still working a 9-to-5 job, and we were trying to get our YouTube channel off the ground. I distinctly remember sitting in my cubicle at my medical devices job and just thinking about all the things I needed to do when I got home, right? So it was like I was at the 9-to-5, and then my 5 to 9 basically was like growing our channels, right? And so I would go home and would do the thumbnails and make the video, edit the videos and all this stuff, right? And I just remember there was like a solid like 3-4 years of grinding where we were just, we saw the goal, and we saw the potential dollar signs of like what this could represent for us, in our kind of this fledgling creator business. Again, remember, like, none of us were thinking about this as like a business back in the day because we didn't have a lot of like models, right? There wasn't a lot of full-time creators out there who we could model ourselves out after. And so we kind of had to blaze this trail a little bit on our own, and we made a ton of mistakes along the way. But, we really took it seriously to try to have a presence on all these different platforms that, were nascent. We tried our hand at growing an email list back in the day, had, kind of some successes and failures with respect to that. But it's like, we really took it seriously. And the other really important factor I think about diversifying your platforms is that, like, if you want to get more brand deals, you have to be very careful of doubling down on platforms that have instability. Right? Because as we've seen with a lot of, I won't name them, but there's a lot of platforms that, have exchanged hands with respect to, let's say, mergers and acquisitions. And do the new owners really have the best platform, the intentions of the best intentions for the platform? Who knows? But if you have built up the majority of your influence and your following on this one platform, what is going to happen when it goes away? It's this existential question that I think a lot of us, we think in the back of our mind, like, TikTok might get banned, or is Twitter really going to go down, or like whatever. You think about these things, but that's never really going to happen. I mean, it happens. Look at Vine, right? Vine, there were some massive creators and influencers that, all they were Viners, right? That's all they had. And when Vine abruptly shut down, they were SOL. Right. And so if you think, you don't have to look that far back in history to see examples of platforms just going under, or brands, who acquired them just making the decision to fold it. Right. And so it's so critical for you to understand that if you rely on that platform to get brand partnerships, and you sign deals saying that you're going to like publish on this brand platform for this partnership, what is going to happen if you get hacked? You don't have the ability to post on there anymore. It goes out of business, and your livelihood goes out, down the drain with it. So this is a really serious thing that you need to be considering. And I'm not trying to be the doomsayer or anything, but this is my job. This is one of the reasons why I come on here each and every week, is to help you think a little bit further down the road than you might be currently. So hopefully this is helpful. I have a few other things I want to talk about here, but drop it in the chat. Were these gems, is this helpful to you? Zipper has said, if I had money for every platform that closed. Yeah, Google had a bunch of them that went under. Yeah, let's talk about all the people that, went really hard at like Google Plus when that came around. Everyone said it was going to be the Facebook killer, and like, what happened to that, right? And so honestly, like this is a real thing. This is a serious thing that you need to be considering. D says, you are giving facts. Yes, 10G News says, I've checked you out on YouTube and you are definitely legit. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Super helpful. I'm really TikTok centered and I need to diversify. 100% Lola. I mean, it's a very, very, very important topic. And if you really needed, maybe you needed to hear this like right now. Like this is something that you've been in the back of your mind, but it really took this live stream that you happened upon to finally make that decision. I think that's this idea of like, what platform should I be on? Is it, TikTok or Instagram or whatever? And my answer is always like, tell me more about your business, right? Like I cannot tell you what platform you should be on. To the one that's going to move the needle, unless you do that 2-tier litmus test that I mentioned. What I can tell you though is the platforms you should not be on. You should not just be running and jumping headfirst into a brand new platform if it doesn't serve your community. If your audience doesn't really have an interest in it, or you're not really that excited about the utility or the value that you could potentially provide to that platform, and you don't really see brands in your industry getting excited about maybe having a presence on that platform, what are you doing? Don't spread yourself so thin and try to maintain this presence everywhere, because it's going to be impossible. Like, I'll have creators sometimes say to me like, man, Justin, you're publishing content everywhere. I see you on LinkedIn, on YouTube, you've got a newsletter, you've got a podcast, your social media, Twitter, like all these, how are you doing that? And I'm going to be honest with you. I have a team, but for a long time I didn't. It was just me. Right. And so, I think sometimes we look to some of these, the largest creators in the game, and they're like everywhere, right? And you'd be like, man, I'll never be able to get to that level of, breadth when it comes to my content strategy, because I'm spread so thin. And the thing that you need to realize is, again, they have a team. It's not just them. And so, yeah, maybe at some point in the future you'll get there, but you need to, focus initially, so that you can find true traction. And so, I hope that's helpful to everyone. Oh my gosh. Elevate with Vern just dropped the $3 super chat. That is so kind of you. It doesn't show me the emoji, but apparently it describes it. Baby lemon with pom-poms in his hands cheerleading. I don't even know what that emoji looks like, but that was the one that Vern sent with her super chat. So I appreciate that very much, Vern. That really, she says, thank you for what you do. I appreciate you. That's so kind of you, Vern. I hope you have a wonderful Friday. And you always know, if you guys drop the super chats on Fridays, that goes to the DoorDash fund for my date night in with my wife, April. So that always goes a long way, and I appreciate that very much. Forever Conscious Research says, I do everything myself, and it's exhausting. Yes, that's 100. I hear you, man. For the longest time, that was that same, extremely same. I actually only hired a virtual assistant like almost 2 years ago. I've been doing this almost 15 years, right? So imagine that, right? It's been a really, really long time since I've finally started seeing the value of, growing the team. To be fair, I did have an influencer marketing agency for 7 years, and I did have full-time employees and all that stuff too. But with respect to my creator business, it was just us for the longest time. So, and it's been kind of a game changer. So, Lynn Sire asks, where did you focus first before having a team? It's a great question. And, for me, I always looked to, a couple things. Like, number one, I always am focusing. So if you're a creator who is wondering like, okay, I don't have a team, but I need to focus somewhere. So like, where should I focus? Right. And my experience, or like really what I tried to do before I had a team, was figure out where in the business will my effort drive the most results, and where in the business is something that could be capably outsourced that would not impact the top level, results of the business. And so, for example, if I think about, they say your zone of genius, right? They talk a lot about this, of like, what is the thing that you're uniquely positioned to do as a creator? And if I think about it, for me, it's content, right? Like speaking, it's writing, it's thought leadership type stuff, being on podcasts, like that is, I know that that's my strength. I do not get flustered. I can be in front of large groups, and I can deliver a really impactful message. And I think I am a good teacher, right? Like I have, I've had this knack ever since I was a little kid, that I am able to explain concepts really succinctly. I can distill them down into like frameworks and acronyms and strategies and all this stuff. And that is my zone of expertise. You know what's not my zone of expertise? I'm not really that creative of a person. I'm not a good video editor. I'm not a good graphic designer. Like I'm not that good of a copywriter, to be honest. There's people out there who are way more talented than me. And so I always sought to bring those people onto my team who were better at all those things that I was not. And so to me, the very first hire that I made was a video editor for Creator Wizard, because I knew, I was like, I suck at this. Like, I'm going to find someone else who's better than me, who can like kind of bring this. I have energy on camera, but that, someone can bring in the effects and the GIFs and like all the cool things I'm envisioning in my mind. I'm good at giving feedback to the editor, but that's not my skill set. Right. And so if I could reach back in time and kind of put my hand on Justin from 10 years ago or something like that, I would have hired a virtual assistant a long time ago. Like, that would have been, had I known now. I always, for the longest time. So you may or may not know this about me, but sorry, I have an alarm, but I have to remind myself of something to talk about on the stream. You may not know this about myself, but I am absolutely a perfectionist. And so it was hard for me to give up stuff. Like, it was hard for me to be like, oh no, like, yeah, you hire an editor, hire an assistant, or hire, that's just like my personality is I want to do things right. And I like, if I catch a little error, like, I'm very detail oriented. And I always thought like, no one's ever going to be able to like catch the like things that, the really small details that I want to make sure I have in my content and all that stuff too. But it was a conscious act of me pushing against that tendency of realizing like, no, Justin, you're actually preventing yourself from serving more people by holding on to these things that are not within your zone of genius. And so I think if you really kind of do a thought exercise and sit and think, what is my zone of genius? What is the things that I really do? And then try to start surrounding yourself with people who can, take all that other stuff off your plate and help you focus on this stuff. That's going to be the real needle mover. So yeah, hopefully that's helpful. All right, y'all, I am very excited because, one of the things that is a relatively new development for my business is this live stream is sponsored, y'all. You've probably saw the watermark in the upper corner that today's sponsor is Uscreen. And I'm so thrilled and appreciative of their sponsorship. And I wanted to take a few minutes to talk about Uscreen. So I'm going to share my screen here because I want to share a little bit more about Uscreen's capabilities. And here we go. Boom. So they have this video. So first of all, what is Uscreen? Let me actually show you. So we're like all on the same page here about what Uscreen is. So Uscreen is a membership platform. Oh, I'm only sharing the tab. How do I share the entire window? Because I'm like going to be switching back and forth. There we go. I'm going to be switching back and forth between windows. So there we go. This is what I need. All right. So Uscreen is an all-in-one membership platform for creators. So let's say that you're a YouTuber and maybe you're a fitness channel, or I talked in the past about Uscreen. They have a business that they've helped that does like basketball lessons, right? So if you want to become a better basketball player and so on, there's always this idea that like, okay, I'm putting out a bunch of free content on, let's say, YouTube or Instagram or TikTok or something like that, but I feel as though I can help my audience in a more concerted way, a more detailed way that I can't on social media. And so Uscreen is a tool that allows you to do that. So essentially you can create exclusive video content and a membership community across your own mobile app and website. So it's actually your own branding. And so there was this case study that they shared recently, which was really interesting because I think a lot of creators wonder, like, how could I even do this? I don't have that many followers, or I don't have that big of an audience. And they have a really interesting case study from a channel called Adjuster TV. His name is Matt Allen. And he was interviewed by one of the key team members of Uscreen about how did he do this? How did he create like a paying membership community when he has such a small, a narrow niche? Because what Matt does is he's an adjuster. So he has this whole thing about how you become a claims adjuster. And he started creating content all around this idea. You could see he has 28,000 subscribers on YouTube. But he started attracting a lot of people who were interested in like, oh, what does that mean to be a claims adjuster? You can make 6 figures even without a college degree. Like, this is super interesting. And so Matt talks about his story here about how he, started selling digital products, how he ultimately, started a Uscreen membership, started having exclusive video content, essentially kind of behind a paywall, and using his YouTube as kind of the top of funnel to get people, kind of into the top of funnel, get interested about what he's doing. And then the people who ask more details about, oh, like, tell me more about this. Then he has trainings and, master classes that people can go to. He invites them to join his community and so on. And so I would really, really encourage y'all to, I actually have the link in the description box of this live stream to check out this video on Uscreen's channel because it's really fascinating. If you never thought that, a membership is right for me, I would really, really encourage you to watch this video because I love these mindset shifts where it's like, wow, like, only 28,000 subscribers, and he's making a lot of money, tens of thousands of dollars a month on his exclusive video content. So definitely check it out. And again, like, I'm so appreciative of Uscreen's support because they continue, their support of my business of Creator Wizard allows me to continue to make awesome free content for y'all. So if you do end up checking it out, please, and you sign up for a free trial, etc., make sure to let them know that we sent you. So thank you again so much to Uscreen for sponsoring this portion of the live stream. All right. Okay. All right. So let's dive back in, and we're going to dive into the Q&A now. So if you have any questions around brand deals, sponsorships, negotiations, holy cow, we got another super chat from Architectural Sheet Metal 101. He's like some BK on me. He's got a thumbs up. With does that mean Burger King? Is that what you're trying to give me, some Burger King? Well, I appreciate that. I must say I do love the Impossible Whopper that they have at Burger King. That is very delicious, I must say. So appreciate you, man. That really means a lot to me. Thank you. We got She-Fires in the chat. Good to see you here. Elevate with Vern says, I have had a team of 3 for 1.5 years. Wow, that's awesome. That's incredible. Vern, drop it in the chat. Can you let us know who the other 2 team members are, or is it you plus 2 people? I'm just curious, like who you work with right now. That would be interesting. Let's see here. Who we got in the IG chat. Let's see. We got a comment from Trudy. She says, I'm the creative, but I can't handle the business concept. I suck at selling, but I'm learning. I really appreciate you being vulnerable and sharing that, Trudy, because, a lot of creators say to me, like, I am the creative one. Like, I just am not good at the business side of it. In fact, I feel very uncomfortable with having a sales conversation with my audience. And it's actually a very common thing, because if you think about the 2 ways in which most creators monetize, you've got the indirect monetization channels, which is AdSense, sponsorships. Those are indirect monetization methods, right? Because you are not having to say to your followers, hey, pay me, buy this thing from me. That is direct monetization. And this is a really, really critical concept to understand, because, if you're just terrified, petrified of having a conversation about some sort of exchange of value or monetary, remuneration from your audience, that is going to be something that's a huge block for you. Because if you think about my business, if you look at Creator Wizard, I do it all, right? I have sponsorships, right? Like I just did, but I'm also selling directly. I have coaching, I have courses, I have, a lot of affiliates. I have a lot of different ways in which I am serving my audience. Let's talk about this topic is I said, serving my audience. How am I serving my audience with sponsorships? Well, I am, exposing them to a product or a service or a brand that they've never heard of in a way in which I can serve their creator business, right? Maybe it's solving a problem that's keeping them up at night in their creator business. Maybe it's a promo code, a discount code, a seasonal promotion, right? And so the way in which I always approach sponsorships, and the way in which you should, is a mindset of service, right? Yeah, you're winning, right? I talk about this win-win-win when it comes to sponsorships. It's like, yeah, you're winning, you're getting paid. The brand is clearly winning because they get exposed to your audience of prospective customers. But your audience should also be winning, right? You should serve them with some sort of incentive to illustrate your gratitude that you've supported them along the way too. So I think it's like a lot of people feel icky when it comes to sponsorships. I don't want to I don't want to do sponsorships because it somehow feels like slimy or something. And I hope that by listening to these live streams and watching my videos, you'll start to realize that no, you're actually serving your audience through sponsorships if you do it right. If you take deals with integrity and at the end of the day that they are actually truly serving your audience. So hopefully that's helpful. All right, let me take a swig while I dive back into to some questions. All right. Forever Conscious Research has a comment around the pricing for Uscreen. He was saying the cheapest plan is $149 a month plus $199 for every paid member. So let me give you a mindset shift on the pricing stuff here. If you look at the revenue model or the revenue engine or strategy of my business, I have a business where I have what's called high ticket products, right? I have a multi-$1,000 course. My coaching is $1,000 an hour for my private coaching. And so I have consciously chosen to serve a specific type of audience, right? And I will be the first one to acknowledge that there are other types of creator businesses that potentially could not command those prices or those levers or levels or certain like that. So my approach is a lower volume. I'm serving a lower volume of clients, and other creator businesses may be a higher volume and a lower price. The topic of pricing, I think, is a really important one when it comes to like selling your own stuff, because, and there's so much like kind of there's so much psychology behind this. But what I really want you to realize is that a service like Uscreen is an investment. It's an investment in your own business. It's an investment in diversifying away from the social platforms that don't owe you anything. You are building on rented land. And so, yeah, if you look at it as like, oh, wow, this is a lot of money per month, then, I understand maybe the economics don't work for your business, but the way in which I have always looked at it, like I am more than happy to, invest this amount of money per month if it's allowing me to have more control over and more of a direct connection with my audience. And so I would really encourage you to not look at these types of tools as expenses, but rather as investments, because if you choose the right structure for your business and the way in which you're monetizing, your potentially your influence downstream, because again, like, I've said this over and over, like, I don't care if 99% of creators never pay me a dime. I publish so much content for free. I publish a ton of my coaching calls like in public for free. I have my newsletter where I send you paid sponsorship opportunities for free. I have my podcast for free, like massive amounts of free information. And downstream, yeah, if you need more detailed support, yeah, I've got the coaching, I've got the courses, I've got all that stuff, but you know me, I do not push that stuff. Like I'll say it here and there, but I really don't push it very much, right? And so I think that you have to understand and start to get comfortable with the fact that, investing in some of these tools is like, okay, look, if you were starting any sort of brick and mortar company, well, let's say you're starting an ice cream shop, right? Like, what do you have to invest in to be able to sell an ice cream cone? You have to invest in machinery. You have to invest in personnel. You have to invest in insurance. You have to invest in rent for the brick and mortar location. There's a lot of you have to invest in raw materials to be actually make the ice cream, right? There's a lot of things you have to invest in to make revenue in any other business, right? And so it's the same way with the creator business. If you're thinking that you want to create exclusive video content and be able to allow people to subscribe to that membership community, et cetera, then it makes sense. You have to make an investment to be able to make that revenue. So again, part of my goal of like being on here and talking to y'all about a lot of this stuff is to have these mindset shifts around investing in yourself and understanding that, some of these tools like are going to help you do that. So anyways, I hope that might be helpful. I just wanted to provide an alternative perspective to that one. Delilah says, I'm working on changing my money mindset, and it's all thanks to you, Justin. Thank you so much. I never imagined it was even holding me back, but this poverty mindset I grew up with is no longer allowed. Delilah, I'm really, really glad you brought that up, and I want to talk about this because when I first got into coaching and making content, or just creating content, not coaching, creating content around this idea of sponsorships, I did not expect how much the mindset piece holds people back. I was just like, yeah, simple, send an email to a brand, like pitch them, no big deal, right? It's not, no worries, but like that was me 10 years into my career, having sent hundreds of pitches and collaborated with hundreds of brands and being like, no worries, just do it. It's not a big deal, right? And it was a total learning lesson for me to realize that there's a whole host of creators that's the biggest obstacle. That's the biggest objection is I can't get past the hitting send on this email thing. Or when they are negotiating with the brand and the brand says, hey, how much is it going to cost to work with you? And money was something that was completely taboo to discuss in your family growing up, or there was always kind of a scarcity mindset. Oh, we never have enough money for anything or whatever. Like I will never, ever, ever trivialize your upbringing. I'll never be the one to do that, right? But you can't ignore the fact that it's coloring your ability to advocate for yourself and your own worth as a creator. Like imagine that. Like we are, have these like kind of, for a lot of people, traumatic upbringings when it comes to money and money insecurity and all that stuff, right? And now we're thrust into this situation where we have built potentially a sizable platform and a sizable influence, and now we're being asked with no training to negotiate. Like, what the heck is going on here? Which is one of the reasons why I feel so compelled to create this content, to help you advocate for yourself, because it can make such a huge difference in, growing your business, having more impact, having more income to allow you to live the life that you want. I've been thinking about this idea around like I have this goal, right, of helping creators big and small land 1 million sponsorships by 2032. I've been, you probably heard me talk about this mission, but I keep thinking in the back of my head, like, so what? Yeah, that's a cool mission, but that's kind of like my mission. Like, how does that mission impact the creators that I'm serving? And the one thing that I kept thinking about was like, I want to help creators big and small land 1 million sponsorships by 2032 so that they never have to get a real job again. That was the first thing that jumped in my head, because the underpinning of a lot of what I talk about is like helping people have their own destiny, right? Be in control of their own destiny. And this idea around creating a sustainable sponsorship strategy will oftentimes allow you to do that, right? And so let me know what you guys think about that in the comments, because this is the very first time I'm saying this aloud and publicly. And so I'm a little nervous, like how this is going to land, but I don't know. I like the way that feels, because I wanted to add a "so that" to the mission. I wanted to add that because I want to make sure it's very clear how it impacts you, not just how it impacts me. So I don't know if that's going to be the one, but I don't know. I was feeling like that one resonated with me. Forever Conscious Research said, don't get me wrong, I'm not knocking you or your sponsor. Every service has a value, and what may work for some may not work for others. To be honest, another tier would have likely attracted someone like me. I really appreciate the transparent feedback. Look, I will never shy away from feedback, and I really appreciate it. That level of objectivity. Like, I love engaging with you in this way, and you're totally right. There are certain, sponsors that you even may talk about in your content that's not for everyone, right? And you have to actually have the humility as a creator to realize that and not get mad and be like, yeah, you know what? This isn't going to be for everyone. And I totally understand that. And yeah, there may be some people who push back a little bit, but it's you having the objectivity and the confidence to lean into it and be like, yeah, if it doesn't work for you, that's totally okay. Here's why I actually think it's a really good option to consider. But if it's not cool for you, if it doesn't work for you, that's fine. Right. And so this is kind of like a little meta, kind of a tangent here, but I think it's really illustrative, and I appreciate you bringing it up. All right. I'm going to take a swig because I've been talking a mile a minute. Oh my goodness. All right. Let's see here. Sonal, what's going on? She said, I'm tuning in from Belgium, almost midnight here. I'm the one who connected on LinkedIn. I found your content so valuable so far. Can't wait to continue to learn from you. That's very, very kind of you. Thank you so much. Really, really does mean a lot. Funny story. I am a career coach and I help my clients earn a higher salary. But when it comes to brand/sponsorship deals for myself, it's weird to take a taste of your own medicine. It's so funny that you say that, because I have had even this experience, right? I'm like a sponsorship negotiation coach, help you charge your worth. But I had so much imposter syndrome when I first launched my course. I was like $1,500. That's what I was charging at the time, like a couple of years ago. I was like, are people really going to pay me like $1,500? This is like what? This is crazy. This type of idea. And it took a lot of internal reflection and again, remember, I had done over 1,000 sponsorships at this point. I'd negotiated with so many brands, but when it's you flip it and it's kind of in a different context, sometimes it's hard for you to teach yourself your own medicine or teach yourself the things that you oftentimes teach others. So I can even be honest and be vulnerable here that I'm not immune to that. So I really appreciate you for sharing that. Yeah, I think that's totally true. Delilah says, I think it's awesome, Justin. It's true. I want financial freedom so that I can never have to have a traditional job again. Boom. Thank you for sharing that. Kyle in the chat says, I like what you say about hiring a virtual assistant and outsourcing what aspects of content creation you may not be the strongest in. We've been trying to figure out what aspects we could hire out. We're using a lawyer now on almost every contract, which has been a huge help. What aspect might you suggest outsourcing for help that would improve productivity the most with content creation? What did you use the virtual assistant for? Great question, Kyle, and good to see you here. So when it comes to outsourcing and figuring out delegation and all that stuff, I go back to this idea of what is going to move the needle the most in your business, is for a virtual assistant, are you getting a lot of inbound opportunities or inbound emails, whether it's brand partners, other types of collaborators? For me, if you think about it, one of the big things that my virtual assistants do is, helping me respond to the 30,000, 32,000 creators on my email list. If you can appreciate that, like, in most of my emails, I'm saying, hit reply to this email if to share your story with me, like this type of thing in most of the emails I send. And so surprise, surprise, when you ask 32,000 creators to do that, a lot do. So I'm getting hundreds of emails a week from creators sharing their stories. And it's very important to me that those people hear back from me or my team, right? In the beginning, for a long time, I was like, it has to be me. I have to be the one to respond to all these people because it's like, this could be a potential, future, client for coaching, or maybe a potential future person who might want to join my course, and they need to hear from me, from the person who's like creating the course, right? And this was a limiting belief for me a long time. But a lot of times people don't necessarily care about hearing back from me. Like I have Dee on my team, who is my director of operations and community, and she is incredible. And like hearing back from her, people are thrilled, right? So it's like, it is very much a limiting belief that only I'm the only one who can do these like very specific tasks. And so, maybe there's a parallel for you in your own business, Kyle, which is like there's areas in which, maybe a virtual assistant can help with editing or thumbnail, graphic design, or helping you, turn your YouTube videos into, long form blog posts, or, creating a newsletter or whatever. There's a lot of different ways, kind of going back to this whole thing at the top of the live stream around, figuring out which platforms to diversify across so that you can increase your brand deal flow. That could be something that they help with, right? And so I think that it sounds like you're making a lot of the right moves. You've got the lawyer, you've got all this thing. I'll do like a shameless plug right now for one of my kind of newer programs that I offer for creators. Is I have something called the Wizards Guild, which is ongoing asynchronous coaching. So one thing that we were hearing from, especially a lot of our alumni from my course, was like, hey, this course was awesome, but I just need help on an ongoing basis. Like, I understand that you're not a manager, you don't broker deals and all that stuff too, but I would love to have you and your team on speed dial to like, hey, I'm getting this inbound, inquiry from a brand or an agency. Like, here's kind of what I want to offer them. Like, but I just don't know what to price this. Or the brand asked me, like, like if I would be willing to do something very specific, and I just don't know how much to charge for that. Or maybe the brand gave me some like really weird feedback on the content that I submitted, and I just don't know if I should push back. There's all these like situations that, sometimes it would be nice to have someone kind of as a backstop. And so this is what we offer. So every Tuesday and Thursday, you can send in, asynchronous videos, voice notes, texts, email threads, whatever that you're of these interactions that you're having with partners, and ask for feedback from my team. And so it's $1,000 a month. You can cancel anytime. And the creators who are in there are finding huge amounts of value in it, right? And so again, like these are creators who oftentimes prefer to not have a manager. They don't want to give 20% of every deal to a manager, right? They're comfortable getting on the phone call with the brand. They're comfortable, like handling an email thread with the brand, but they just want someone to ask for like a second opinion, right? And so this is a new service that I'm offering, and I'm really, really excited about the prospect, because the parallel that I draw is that you think about like a fee only financial advisor versus someone who charges for assets under management. So if you've ever like invested your money, you know that, like if you are paying a 1% or 2% a year of whatever your assets are of your 401k or whatever, like that adds up pretty quickly, right? Contrast that with a fee-only advisor who they're charging you, let's say $300-400 an hour, or whatever it is. Like oftentimes that's going to be a much better investment. And like, again, I'm not calling into questions the ethics or the integrity of some of the people who do that, but a lot of times, these entities have a financial incentive to recommend certain financial products because they get a kickback, right? And so I kind of draw the parallel to the management scenario with, the brand partnership management scenario with a lot of creators. Like, if the only way in which your manager is eating is if they, if you get a deal, right? You close this deal and then they get their 20%, their 15%, whatever it is, then there are going to be scenarios probably where a manager is saying, hey, you should really take this deal. And if you, like don't, refuse like 3-4 deals in a row, that manager might start getting a little pissed off. They're like, hey, I'm like out there hustling for you, and you starting to say no to all these deals. Like, what gives? Right. And they may start, gravitating some of their attention towards some of their other clients on their roster. And so the model that I provide is I say, look, I am 100% objective. I'm going to tell you a deal sucks. I'm going to tell you a deal is awesome, right? Because we're not financially incentivized by you getting the deal, right? And so again, this is a new model. I feel like I'm kind of pioneering, and so far so good, right? And so again, like at the end of the day, it just comes down to like serving. Yeah, I realize like there's a certain profile of creator that I'm serving with that. The people who are making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, typically on sponsorships, it's a no-brainer for them, right? So anyways, just wanted to share my perspective here is that, as you start, developing your own creator business, like these are some of the things I think you should start thinking about. All right. Okay. Lola says, I can definitely see myself using this service in the future. I don't want a manager. Boom. That's awesome. And cannot wait to serve you in the future, Lola. Lola, would you do me a favor and drop it in the TikTok chat? Like why don't you want a manager? I'm always curious because I know why I think most creators don't, but I'd love to hear it from you. That really, is interesting to me. And it'll candidly help me like start talking about this program more because I really haven't talked much about it. And so, yeah, that would be interesting. Jareen says, I haven't thought about the pushback turning down deals would have with management. Yeah, I've seen it firsthand, Jareen. I have had so many creators, friends who are creators who have experienced this over the years. And again, like a lot of managers won't say that this happens, but it's human nature. Think about it, right? Like, if you were managing someone and you like were out there hustling, pounding the pavement, getting them these deals, and then you send it to them, hey, great news, I got a deal for you. And they're like, nah. Like it's human nature to be like, what the heck is wrong with this creator? This is really bothering me, right? Especially if there's no retainer, like you're getting paid a percentage of each deal. So it just starts to kind of be this insidious dynamic where, you start, getting annoyed and start like, hey, you know what? I'm going to like focus on, getting deals for this other creator who's like much easier to work with. So again, I just wanted to provide that alternative perspective, and it's not going to be for everyone. I understand it's not for everyone. Some people, yeah, you have 10 million followers, fine, go get a manager. It's no big deal. Go get an agent. It's all good. But like, I feel like for the vast majority of creators, a manager is not a good fit. All right. Let's see here. Lola says, it's definitely in relation to the pushback, turning down deals and having less freedom. I don't want to have someone else in control of my own business. Yeah, I actually just talked about this. I did the keynote for a virtual summit called Unicon earlier today, and we talked about this topic, about the idea around creators becoming the CEO of their own business. I think for a long time, a lot of creators looked at being a creator as kind of like I just want to focus on the creative stuff. I think it was Trudy said in the IG chat, like, I'm good at the creative stuff, but I'm just not good at the business stuff. I don't really want to focus on that. And my argument is that you have to. Even if you don't feel like you're not good at it, the way to have a long-term career as a creator is to educate yourself, is to take this stuff seriously. It's to watch these live streams, watch my videos where I'm like pumping you up and giving you this encouragement around like, hey, you can do this. Even though you think you're not good, or even though you had a tough upbringing where money was scarce, or even though you feel as though you have imposter syndrome when trying to ask for these stratospheric rates when you're negotiating with a brand, you can do it. I believe in you. Negotiation is something that can be learned. Worth is something that can be learned. Like I truly fundamentally believe that. And so if you want to have a long-term career as a creator, you have to educate yourself. You have to. I've seen too many creators burn out, flame out, have to go back and get, the normal, back to the 9 to 5. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I understand. Like there's value in the stability and the consistency and the regularity of getting a, consistent paycheck and providing for your family. I will never shame that. But for those of us misfits, probably I would imagine all of you here on this live stream probably can identify with this. You probably have this like desire also, which is like, if I could have the choice, I would choose to work for myself for the rest of eternity. That's me. I can never work for someone again. I can't. It's been 15 years. Well, actually, no, I quit my full-time job in 2014. So it's been 9 years that I've been, my wife quit in 2012. So she's been doing it longer, but like, it's been a long time being self-employed. And so I do not think that I could like do well going back to like a corporate job. So, if any of you needed to, hear this, and needed to feel empowered by what I'm saying right now, then you were here for a reason. It's not just chance. Okay. Jareen says, I am team rest of eternity. Boom. All right. Let me get some applause for that one. Team Rest of Eternity. Here we are. Let me know in the chat. Like, give me a golf clap if you're with Jareen. You're Team Rest of Eternity. Yeah. Lola says, agreed. The self-employed life is too good. Yeah. Let's get some validation here in the chat. All right, here. Let's see. Love the chat. The chat is like really, it's lighting up today. So I really, I love to see it. Let me see if I missed anything in the IG chat. Let's see. There was actually something on YouTube that I think I wanted to answers here. Okay. Nanfinita. Did I pronounce your name? Nanfinita Jacob. Did I pronounce your name properly? I hope I did. Nanfinita Jacob. I have been getting DMs from brands to get the right. I've been DMing brands to get the right contacts. Big brands don't deal with content creators directly. They work with agencies. They took my info and then I never heard back. Any suggestions? Yeah, don't do that. Right? That's what's going to happen. You're not going to hear back, right? Because they don't have they have very, very little incentive to be like, let me pass this person's name along. And so what I, almost always suggest in almost all scenarios is, you should not be DMing brands. That should be a last resort. You should be doing your own research using tools like LinkedIn, and emailing them, like sending them like really compelling pitches. I have this pitching methodology that I teach in my content and my courses called the ROPE method. R stands for your pitch has to be relevant to a campaign that that brand is either currently running or has run in the past. O stands for organic, meaning that you can tie your pitch back to organic content that illustrates how your audience has affinity for their brand or their product. P stands for proof, so you can show how you're, how you've helped other brands achieve results. And E stands for easy to execute. When the brand says, yeah, this actually sounds interesting. What do you have in mind? And so this is really the big difference is that when you pitch them, it's not about you. They don't care about you, Nanfinita. What they care about is their own marketing objectives. So your pitch has to be relevant to that. Hey, brand, I saw that you're trying to do X based on my research. I would love to help spread the word about that to my audience who is authentic fans of your brand for the following reason. Then you link one of your posts illustrating that you have affinity. I can do, one YouTube video. I can do Instagram posts. I can deliver it to you within 10 days. Also happy to share how I've helped, this other brand in a similar category to you achieve results. Are you free on Thursday at 10 a.m. to talk about it? That's the pitch. And so that's something you should be sending directly to the brand contact. There is definitely an art and a science with, respect to like understanding who to send this pitch to, which is what I cover in my Brand Deal Wizard course. Because I go really in depth in it. But there is kind of an art and a science of understanding like kind of the right titles based on the size of the organization. If it's a small family run business, there's probably only one marketing person there, right? And so that's probably the person you should pitch. But if it's a medium-sized, larger organization, just as you said, they're oftentimes outsourcing that to agencies, right? And so now you have to understand, okay, who's the decision maker there? You can absolutely send pitches to agencies. You have to, understand how to find the right person there too. So definitely it's like a whole rabbit hole, but hopefully that's helpful. Gosh, time flies, guys. What do you guys think about this new live streaming time? 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern. This is very unusual. I'm not like usually like live streaming in the afternoon. So this is like very weird. But again, like I wanted to be here. I always try and live stream every week if I can. And I'm glad to see you guys showed up. I didn't know if anyone was going to come. I was like, man, this is like 4 hours past my normal live stream time. Is anyone going to show up? But you guys showed up. Like, come on. Like, I appreciate you guys. That means a lot to me. All right, let's see here. Did I miss a question here? I think I missed a question. Lola says, I'm speed writing that pitch that you just gave us in my notes. Okay. I'm so glad you brought this up. Because had a kind of a breakthrough. Dee and I, as I mentioned, my director of operations and community, we were having our weekly call about, kind of plans for the rest of the year, goals for the company and all this stuff too. And one thing that we're really excited about is we are going to be starting what we're calling pitching challenges. So we're not sure exactly the cadence of how often we're going to do them, but it's going to be the kind of thing where it's either like kind of like a 7-day or 10-day pitching challenge, where there's a little bit of education in the beginning, where it's like, okay, this is how you do a great pitch. And then every day for, let's say, 7 days or 10 days or something like that, you send one pitch to a brand. And then you post about it in the private community and get feedback from your peers and all this stuff too. And we're going to be making these challenges free. And we're just really excited about the idea because, as we thought more about like how we can have the biggest impact at Creator Wizard, what we really realized was that the pitching phase for most creators is the biggest obstacle. And if you cannot get over that hump, all of the other things that I teach with respect to negotiating and contracts and concepts and publishing and feedback and production and all that stuff, analysis, right? You're never going to get to those levels unless you get comfortable with pitching. And by the way, the subtlety that not a lot of creators think about is that a pitch is not just when you reach out cold and pitch a brand. A pitch is also when a brand comes inbound to you because you still have to pitch them on why you're the best fit. Because what a lot of creators don't realize is that when a brand comes inbound to you saying, hey, would you be interested in this partnership? They're not just reaching out to you. They're reaching out to 10, 15, 50 other creators and kicking the tires on everyone, figuring out how much you all charge to see if it's even feasible to partner with you. And so you still have to do the dog and pony show. You still have to pitch them to say, hey, I am the best person for this job. And so this idea around doing a pitching challenge, kind of a regular pitching challenge, is I don't know, exciting to me. So let me know in the chat, what do you think about this idea? Is that something you'd participate in? Like, I don't know. I'm just starting to get excited about how we would, like pull something like this off. So like drop it in the chat. Do you have any ideas about mechanisms or like how we could do this, or like, does 7 days feel good? Does 10 days feel good? The reason I like 10 days is that, maybe there's like 3 of the days in the beginning are kind of the education, right? Of like, okay, this is how you do a pitch, watch this video, et cetera. And then the next 7, the 7 days of the 10-day challenge is like the pitching. You do it 1 day at a time or whatever. So what do you think of that? Does 10 days feel too long? I like 7 because it feels like, a week, like I can do a week, but 10 days, I don't know if I have time for that, right? I don't know. We're kind of going back and forth on how to pull it off, but curious what you guys think of that. Let's see here. Do you host final quarter strategy sessions, helping us creators make end of year moves and new year goal planning? Interesting. Nan Finita says, I'm comfortable with pitching, but I'm struggling with find the right people and contact emails. Yeah. Okay. Let's start with 7 days. Okay. Good feedback here. Super, super good feedback. The challenge is such an amazing way to get people comfortable with it. Love the idea. I'd participate in it for sure. 10 days is good. Awesome. All right. This is really great feedback. Okay. Another question for y'all. This is turning into a focus group right now in real time. We are also toying with the idea of hosting more detailed paid masterclasses. So one thing that we've been asked for a lot is, various topics around, because we have our course, right? Our really in-depth course, which is, the live course, typically the investment is $3,000 or the on-demand version is $1,500. But other than that, other than kind of like a pay, like a one-on-one private coaching session or the public coaching, we don't really offer any sort of like workshops or any other kind of lower ticket, you could say, price points for ways in which you can learn from me and my team. And so one other idea that we've been toying with is, creating some of these kind of like quick hit, like here, learn this skill, right? It's maybe $100, $200, whatever it is, some kind of like much more approachable dollar value to help you learn some sort of very specific skill. So number one, is that something that's interesting to you? And number two, what types of topics would you be interested in? One topic in particular that some of our students, even of our courses, have asked for is like they want a masterclass on confidence, right? Like how do you find the confidence to like ask for this amount of money, or how do you have the confidence? Like where does that come from? What are the affirmations that you can do? What are the actual tactical things that you can do to get more confident when it comes to creating content or working with brands or whatever it is. So confidence is one we've heard. Selling is another thing. Like, how do you get comfortable with like selling things or having a sales conversation with your audience, or even selling a brand on why you're the best fit or something like this, right? So yeah, I'm just curious. Like, is there any other? Oh, okay, wait, we got some. Yes, please. Oh my God, please do it. What? You tell me what? Tell me what are the things that like, oh my God, please do it. Like, yes, please. Topics: pitching, negotiating, diversification, relationship building with brands. Good to know. Okay, so there's some interest here. I feel like I need to take a screenshot of this on TikTok because I'm going to forget all about all these things. Good to know. Thank you. I'm going to how about I do this? This is so bizarre, but I'm taking a picture because I don't want to stop the live stream on TikTok. There we go. Cool. That was super helpful. Thank you, Lola. Yeah, those are good topics. I'm gonna think about those. Really good to know. Anyways, yeah, I like, my mind is racing with all these ideas. I love to hear that there's interest here. But guys, we're already at time. Can you believe it? Thanks to each and every one of you for showing up each week. I see, even though like this is a different time, I see a lot of like familiar faces here that are normally on the 10 a.m. Pacific live stream. So appreciate you guys rolling with the time change today. I hope you have an absolutely wonderful weekend. Have a great Friday. And I'll see you on the flip side. Peace.